quite a bit of playing under our belt. We've been practicing our 5 disciplines. We've also gone into the major scale in the middle octave and the top octave. But you might be thinking, like, well, what about those bottom notes? So these bottom notes are super awesome, sound really great, and they take a little bit of doing in order to get them to sound great. So what I want us to do is now learn how to bend. Now, there are all sorts of harmonica players that have different kind of opinions on like bending. Can you learn it? Can you teach it? Some believe that you can't. Um, Obviously, we can learn it, and I would say that it is possible to teach it, but there are multiple ways in order to be able to do that. Now, the way that I'd like to teach you is the way that I learned from John Jindick in his book, Natural Country Blues and Harmonica, or Natural Country and Blues Harmonica. I think that's what the title was, but I aim to flash it up so that you could see it for yourself. Now, what he was teaching about this is essentially doing all of the things that we've done, getting those things down, those 5 disciplines. But when you're on a draw note, in particular, what you want to do is to whistle in and imagine taking that whistle down so that you can get a lower sound. So if I go to, say, one draw, and I'm trying to whistle down, I'll get something like this. And then allow it to come up. And you can do this with holes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And each of these holes is going to give you a different amount of bends, and you're going to have a different way of approaching each with the similar foundation that I'm providing you here. Now, there is another way in thinking about this. There are multiple ways, but the way that I also want you to think about it is the position of your body, as if you can imagine yourself on like a diagram, right? Kind of silly, but bear with me. So if you can imagine just like your regular kind of unbent note, like being like where your head is, I want you to imagine when you bend your note, you're actually trying to take that note and that place that it's originating from to a different location on your body. So if I am playing a regular straight note on that one draw, I'm trying to bring the location from which that note is going to down in relationship to my body. Now, with one draw, we have one bend. And with two draw, we have two bends, being the two draw half bend and the two draw double bend. The third hole, we have a three draw half bend, three draw middle bend, and a three draw triple bend. And if you could think about that in relationship to your body, is we're just going lower. Then you might think, okay, well then for hole 4, then you're going to have 4 bends. No, we're going to have just one. And that's just a little bit of God's humor on this instrument, I guess. And then when we get to hole 5, we're going to run into what is called a microtonal bend. Almost sounds like just a flat note, right? It can be cool. And then we go to 6, and that's going to be one bend as well. So how all those bends will sound are going to be like this. For 1, for 2, for 3, for 4, and 6. So if we're remembering where these bends are at, we can think about them as being in a different relationship to the point in our body. Head, remember that's unbent. Say throat, that's bent. Chest, bent even deeper. And then like belly or to the floor, that's an even deeper bend. So when we bend, we're going lower. And right now we're just talking about draw bends. We're not talking about blow bends, just to be sure that we're on the same page. But blow bends are totally possible, and you can make them sound really, really cool. And on lower tuned harps, they're a little bit more forgiving. But as far as I'm concerned, now I said that there are a couple approaches. We're talking about John Jindick's way with the whistle, inward whistle, where we're trying to take that note and then bring it down. Then talking about my body kind of mapping way of thinking about it, starting from the head and going down and then back up when you're trying to go back up. There's another way, and that would be through your vowel modification. So if you're going to approach your 3-hole draw, you've got 3 bends, right? So if I am playing just the unbent note, maybe I think about that as E, as I'm using the E vowel, kind of like we were doing with singing with the different vowel shapes. Easy. And then as I go down, is I could start thinking about different vowels to use to help me guide the direction of the note. So there I was thinking about the top unbent note being just an E. And then the 3-draw half bend right under that unbent note, I was thinking about it like an ew, almost like if you were to say ew, but like on the way to an ooh, which would be the next bend. So E, an ooish kind of like eel sound, E, ooh, and then O for the very bottom. And if that's super confusing, think about it like E, I, U, O. And notice how my lips are changing as well. E, I, U, O. Right? And that can help you by getting to the bend that you want to as well through vowel modification. Sounds super fancy, but all you're doing is just stringing each of those vowels along and to the intended destination. So let's do that again, where we're just focusing on these vowel modifications. E, I, U, O. And that O is a little bit more like an ah for me. But no matter where the place is, I want you to experiment with each of these kind of approaches. The whistle, the body mapping, and the vowel modification, and see which way works for you. It can be a combination of all these things. I know that one of the things that my coach, or I should say, very much is one of my coaches that helped me learn the harmonica, Jason Ritchie, is I learned that in order to be able to get these notes in tune, intonated, and sounding good, for him that's like harder than overblowing, which is an advanced skill on the harmonica, and it's not the easiest skill. So that's saying something. Really take your time on this and practice it. No matter what you do, is just prayerfully take the time, ask God, please help me if you're just struggling super hard. And then I want you to like just do it and keep doing it. And how it works in God's world is if you just keep working at something, one of these days he's like, all right, and then he gives it to you, and then it's yours to keep. And you can also comment and ask for help with like a video. If you give me that, it'll give me an easier time of like addressing your specific issues if you're running into them. If you're not and you're like, this is totally like easy, then, you know, praise God, that's super awesome for you. And this is perfect because we're going to be going right into playing the major scale in the lower octave. So awesome. God bless you, and I'll see you on the other side. So now we're going to play the major scale in the lower octave. So before we actually go into it, I want to play it for you so you can hear what it sounds like. Then I'll explain it, and then we'll get into it. So here's the middle, here is the major scale in the lower octave, and we're going to be playing this in the key of C, first position. All right, cool. Now, the previous lesson that we were discussing bending, that will be necessary. So if like this stuff is just like too out there, it's total rocket science or whatever, like go back to that other lesson because it will help in preparation for this one. So the notes that we're playing are one blow, one draw, two blow, two draw double bend, two draw, three draw middle bend, three draw, four blow. And that's going to give us all the 8 notes or 7 different notes and then an octave of the C major scale. So some tips in being able to maneuver this scale. I want you to really think about how much air you're putting into each of these notes depending on where you're at. So lower notes, they're going to take a little bit more air than the higher notes, and you know the adverse or the opposite is true. So just be gauging like your breath as you're approaching this, and also remember how important it is to articulate. It is so important to articulate these notes. Another thing I learned from Jason Ritchie, you got to make sure that those articulations are in check. When they start sounding unnatural, then that's like excessive. You don't need to go there. But when you're noticing like, oh, my notes sound blurry, then I would actually like strongly suggest that you check out your articulations. Now with this, you can use your hard articulations, especially if like the articulation thing is just like not normal yet. But if it is and you're like, man, my stuff sounds a little bit too choppy, I would like strongly suggest you get into your kind of softer articulations, especially keeping them forward articulations for now. So I'm going to go with that, or do another round of that. All right, so what I'd like for you to do is be able to play that and play it to whatever kind of length of note that is like really comfortable for you. If that's a little bit too long, you can shorten your notes. Or if it's just like too short for some reason, then you can lengthen them. No matter what, is just make sure that you're having fun while you're doing this. Remember, like this can be a struggle, and that's okay. Whatever effort that you're putting in, it will impact where you end up later, and then you only will get stronger and better. And for me to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Remember that I'm just a video response away. And yeah, this has been just playing the major scale in the lower octave. Let's put it all together. Playing the lower major scale in the lower octave and the middle, then bring it up to the top, and then bring it back down. It would sound something like this. All right. So all of those notes, being able to play that from the bottom to the top is, for me, a great tell that you're on your way to getting ready to become an intermediate player. All the things that we've gone over, understanding like the harmonica at a basic level, what it is, and our 5 disciplines, these disciplines that help us to be able to get these things down, being our sitting position, being our handhold, our embouchure, our breath control, our articulations, knowing how to do the major scale in the middle octave, being able to play it in the top octave. Lastly, being able to play in the lower octave with bending. Those, if you're able to do those things, that is a big sign for me that you're ready to move on to the next step and be more of like an intermediate player. That's based off of how I teach. Other teachers would be different, and maybe like at the very beginning, like you're intermediate if you can even play the middle and the top octave, what have you. I think that the way that I'm teaching is, if you're able to do those things, then you have the necessary skills to be able to move on and to progress with the rest of the instrument and play music that's a little bit more challenging and that gets more fun. It's fun in the beginning, can seem simple, but you realize, remember that small stone giant killer, how simple things can actually be pretty difficult to do, pretty complicated. And once you get them to sound good, then you really appreciate those simple things. But anyway, I'm talking a lot about it. Good work. Play it, record it optionally, and send me your progress so that we can, or I can, address where you're getting it, where you're not getting it, what direction you could be going in, or that you're just doing solid and, you know, keep on going and praise God for your progress. I'll see you in the next lesson. All right. So here's where we get into some really cool stuff that's going to prepare you to be able to get into some kind of improvising situations, at least a little bit more, I guess, modern kind of improvising situations, learning what is called the relative major and minor pentatonic scale in second position and fifth. Now, if all of that sounded like a bunch of nerdy gobbledygook, I totally understand. But I want you to think about this as a step in a freeing direction to where you can start playing along with people. And for our case right now, if you have only a C harmonica, that would be people that are playing in the key of E minor or the key of G, at least for our circumstances. But I want you to know that all of these things can be applied to different positions, because we're going to be doing it in second position and fifth position. But it can be applied to other harmonicas, which will open up a whole nother world of you being able to play along with people. So with that, let's get into it. So I want you to think about the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic or relative minor pentatonic as a kind of easier sounding major scale, because we're going to be taking the notes of the major scale, but we're going to take some notes away. And those notes are going to be the fourth of the major scale, the fourth note, and the seventh note of the major scale. And what we'll be left with are these notes. Which are going to be 2 draw, 3 draw middle bend, 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, and 6 blow. Those notes sound really, really pretty. To reiterate, that's 2 draw, 3 draw middle bend, 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, and 6 blow. Now, I was talking about relative minor scales, so I want you to be thinking about relative scales being like related scales. So I like to teach it like this. My mom is a very girly girl. You know, like her favorite color is pink. She loves flowers and butterflies, and she does not drink alcohol. Do I have anything against alcohol? No, it is a gift from God, but that is her preference. Now, my older sister, on the other hand, is like totally the opposite from her. My older sister, like, she digs black clothes. She's very much like me, rock and roller kind of, and she's got tattoos. She likes to drink alcohol. And she is nice, but she is tough as well. And she'll let you know if there's something that she doesn't like about you, in a respectful way, of course. But although they have differences, pink and black, my mom and my older sister, they are related. You know, obviously, my sister is my mom's daughter. And just like they're related, I want you to think about these scales being the same yet different. There's a darker aspect to one and a lighter aspect to the other. Now, if we're taking this metaphor even farther, my mom would be that scale that I just played. Super pretty and very fair, pink if you will, major scale. But if I play the relative minor scale to that, the related minor scale, that would be a little darker, and we would start on 2 blow this time. A little moodier, a little darker, kind of like me and my sister. But yeah, I want you to think about this scale, and those notes being 2 blow, 2 draw, 3 draw middle bend, 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 blow, and then back. And that's also a very important note, to when you're playing your scales, to go down as soon as you go up, being able to play up is very important, but going down is essential as well, just so that you get both of those functions down. Now, what's really cool about these scales, the relative major pentatonic and relative minor pentatonic, penta being 5-note scale, built off of the tonic being, in this case, G or E, excuse me. You can play quite a bit with these scales. So I want to show you like a really cool exercise that you can start to play that will prepare you to improvise your own songs and be able to play with others and, you know, have a lot of fun when you're doing it. I actually learned this on guitar, and when I found out you could play this on harmonica, like I was like pretty blown away. It was really cool. That did a lot for me on guitar, and it can do a lot for you on harmonica as well. So how I'd like for us to start this scale is we're going to start on 2 blow, and then we're going to go to 1 draw, and then back to 2 blow, and then 2 draw. Where we have this kind of like back and forth pattern. And we're going to repeat this pattern, this 3-note pattern, starting again from where we left off. So to reiterate, where I'm playing the 2 draw, 2 blow, 2 draw. Then moving to the next note within our relative pentatonic scales, being 3 draw middle bend, right? Where I was playing 3 draw middle bend, 2 draw, 3 draw middle bend. Then we'll continue by going 3 draw middle bend, 3 draw. And then move up to the 4 draw, 3 draw, 4 draw, and then continue this cycle going up with our next pair of notes. Now, when we go backwards, we're going to shift this up just a little bit. We're going to play 3 notes down. In this example, it would sound like this. One more time. And you can start experimenting with this going up with your notes as well. All you have to do is take away your 4th note in the scale and take away your 7th note in the scale. Now that would be really easy in the top octave because we weren't playing that 7th note in the scale anyway. So all you'd be doing is removing that 4th note. So if we were to do that, it would be starting on the 6th blow.